and welcome to this film review for the film Drunken Master. Now, I've been about 10 years since I last watched this film, and I just watched it again today before doing this refresher review. And it is an extremely daft, silly film. It's like watching a cartoon sometimes. It really is. The storyline is pretty thin, if I'm going to be honest. It's basically Wong Fei Hong, or Freddy as he's on the English subtitles or dubbing, is a bit of a prick. He really is. He's a twat. He's not a very nice person. And basically he gets sent away to train with his uncle or somebody, his uncle, some long distant relative anyway. And he learns some discipline and some respect and the drunken style of Kung Fu. That's basically the story. There's a couple of tiny little side stories that don't really lead to anything, but generally there isn't a subplot. It's just straight down the middle, and it is a daft, silly film. I remember this film with a lot more fondness than when I just watched it again just now. I remember it being a really good film, and I watched it just now, and I'm thinking, this is actually a really stupid film. It really is completely mad. And it is a good film, don't get me wrong. It is a good film, but at the same time, it's completely bonkers. I mean, there's just ridiculous dialogue for no logical reason, where they just swear at each other all the time. And they just get in fights all the time. And, you know, you have people that have a slight disagreement. Let's do some fighting just because. And it's like not really that realistic. I mean, or maybe people do just end up fighting each other all the time for no real reason. I don't know. But it is daft. I'm going to be honest, it's not as good as I remember it. I remember this film with a lot of fondness. And I watched it just now, and I was just watching it, and I'm thinking, it's not as good as I remember. I remember it being much better. I mean, I was cringing in some places. I mean, it is absurd. But, I mean, it's not to take anything away. I mean, it knows it's absurd. It knows it's silly. It's trying to be a comedy. I'm not sure if some of the comedy is a little bit dated, and it is an old film, and some of it was just thinking, you know, this humour, it's not all the jokes are landing. Unlike the punches with the Kung Fu, you know, that did land. Once you get past the completely ridiculous storyline and the complete cartoonishness of it, there is actually some good Kung Fu in there. There is some good fights. And they're obviously skilled. You can see the actors are very skilled at what they do. And the fights are so obviously choreographed and so obviously practiced. It doesn't feel organic and natural. It feels like it's rehearsed. But that's just the way it is. But at least, you know, they don't have too many close-up shots which you use to fake it and stuff. But there are some in there. This film, like in the English version, he's called Freddy. Whether you watch the subtitled or have the dubbing, they call him Freddy, but he's actually Wong Fei Hong. And I did a film review a few days ago for Once Upon a Time in China with Jet Li, and he is also portraying the same person, Wong Fei Hong. And in this version, compared to this version, you'd think it's a completely different person. You'd never guess it was the same person that they're portraying, because their personalities are just completely different. I mean, yeah, in this one he's still young, and this one he's fully grown, but even so, you could never guess that they're portraying the same person, because the way they do it is just so different. I think the only clue is that it's got the classic theme music running through the film. And if you listen to it on Mandarin, you can hear them call him Fei Hong, whereas if you have it on English, they just call him Freddy. Although it's all dubbed, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing they filmed it in silence and then just put all the audio on over the top, because the dubbing is not good. I mean, in the past I've only ever watched it with the English dubbing, which is obviously terrible. And so I watched it with the original Mandarin audio, which is just obviously terrible. It's like, okay, it's not them talking, or it just, I mean, like, Jackie Chan doesn't sound anything like Jackie Chan. I mean, maybe it is his voice, maybe I'm wrong, but it didn't sound like him. It's even worse on the English one. That's just terrible. Um, but I don't know. There's something weird going on with the sound. It just didn't work properly, and every single move has to have a poof 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 poof. You can't move your arms in any way without a poof poof. It's ridiculous. I think it's films like this, you know, when people do like martial arts and they do the sound effects with their mouth. I think it's films like this where it originates from. It's absolutely mad. So yeah, it is an enjoyable film. I do like it, but it is at the same time just absurdly stupid. So bearing that in mind, it knows what it is, okay? It doesn't take itself seriously. The film is very self-aware that it's stupid. It's not like trying to be a serious film. That's what I'm saying. The two films, like this one and this one, they're very different films. Although they're both portraying the same person, they're very, very, very different films. One knows it's a serious film and the other one knows it's just stupid. And it's unapologetic about it. It really is. It's unapologetically daft. So what can you do? If you're into your kung fu, you want to watch a classic kung fu film, then I do highly recommend it, because there are some good fights in there and you can see some good techniques in there. But at the same time, you know, the storyline, the overacting, the epic overacting is ridiculous. It's just like so over the top. But again, it's self-aware. It knows it's over the top. So yeah, I mean that's basically my thoughts on Drunken Master. Right, bye.